Life Weekly. High hopes at the High Court. The Supreme Court announces it will take up Mississippi's pro-life law, which bans abortions at 15 weeks, on December 1st. We're joined by Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch, who says this case is the court's chance to overturn Roe v. Wade. Big problems with big tech. Google has canceled pro-life ads about abortion pill reversal. We tell you which pro-life groups are speaking out and why abortion pill reversal is not fake science. Value them both. Pro-life groups in Kansas team up and push to amend their state's constitution after a 2019 court ruling declared a nearly unlimited right to abortion in their state. What you should know about the Value Them Both amendment and why this pro-life state initiative matters to all pro-lifers. The Supreme Court sets the date for a major abortion case that could challenge Roe v. Wade. The High Court announces oral arguments for Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization will be held December 1st. Dobbs centers around a Mississippi pro-life law that bans most elective abortions after 15 weeks. The justices will consider whether pre-viability abortion bans are unconstitutional. In her brief to the court, Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch asked the Supreme Court to overturn previous landmark rulings on abortion, Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, arguing those decisions shackle states to a view of facts that are decades out of date. Fitch wrote, quote, "Under the Constitution, may a state prohibit elective abortions before viability? Yes. Why? Because nothing in constitutional text, structure, history, or tradition supports a right to abortion." Joining us now is Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch. Welcome to the show. It's so good to meet you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you today.
It's great to be with you. So December 1st, the Supreme Court is taking up Mississippi's pro-life law and will consider whether pre-viability abortion bans are unconstitutional. Can you break down for us what is your argument in defense of Mississippi's pro-life law?
Well, we were delighted today to get the date for December the 1st, and we're all moving forward to that date. And this has been such a vision and a strategy that we've all put together with our friends and our partners to get to this point. It's extremely exciting. Mm-hmm. It is truly a chosen case by God, and we get the opportunity to make this argument on why Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Planned Parenthood are not substantial cases, and it should be overturned, and that there's no constitutional right. So we saw our brief as the motion to set into place to have that real honest conversation about those cases and why they should be overturned. And so an exciting opportunity to really share across the vision of what so many of us believe in. We believe in the sanctity of life, the dignity of all, and this is truly a remarkable platform through our Dobbs case to bring it to the United States Supreme Court.
It is a historic moment. So what is your response when people say Mississippi's abortion law, that is unconstitutional?
Well, they're inherently wrong because our situation is, it's been percolating along, and it is. It's all about the protection, again, of the babies, the mothers, the integrity of the medical profession, and we have to look at it from a holistic viewpoint. We can't just look at slivers. We have to look at the entirety of this case and the magnitude. So in doing that, we have to talk about those precious babies, unborn and the ones to be born, the mothers, and again, how did the medical profession support them? And so we have to look at from that integrity aspect. So as we move forward, that's certainly what we'll be doing, and it is an opportunity for the state's interests, the state's rights to be brought up, because the bottom line is this is a rule of law. This is a rule of law case. It needs to be returned to the states. States protect. They are the ones that have the legislators, the governors that we all elect. And their job is to act upon the will of the people, to act upon what's in the best interest of people across the state, and that's what they do. And if they aren't doing that, then they have to be held accountable, and certainly people can go to the ballot box and change that.
You mentioned the brief that you submitted, and you directly asked the court to reconsider Roe v. Wade with Dobbs. Tell us more about that and why you think this might be the case to do that.
Well, it absolutely is the case to do that. I mean, again, this case had been percolating for a number of months. Again, we were thrilled that our case was selected, and ours is very distinguishable. I mean, truly, we have to have the conversation. We need to have the real clear dialogue about why it doesn't fit. Things have changed, you know, in nearly 50 years. And you have to think about 50 years. We've had this very blurred line when it came to viability. So every court had a different opinion, and you could never really come and rectify this court against that one. And certainly Roe never gave clear direction. So you have this special set of rules now that apply to abortion based on all these different precedent cases. And so which one works? How do you know which one you follow? And so that's why we said it is absolutely time to overturn Roe v. Wade and give clear and distinct clarification on abortion and return it back to the states.
A lot of eyes are on this case. Considering the Supreme Court recently upheld Texas's heartbeat law, does that give you hope that they might rule in your favor on this case?
Well, absolutely. And certainly very different situations, different cases, different set of facts and everything. But it does. It gives us great hope that our court, our justices are prepared. And I truly think they are. I think the makeup of the court, the timing is right. And again, we've gone for so long, and there's so much conflict going on the court. And I think they're looking for an opportunity to really give that clarification for all of us moving forward. And when they do that, think about this. The lives that will be touched, the babies that will be saved, the mothers who get a chance to really redirect their lives, and they have all these new and different opportunities that they didn't have 50 years ago.
Pro-abortion attorneys filed their brief with the Supreme Court a few days ago, and they say if the Supreme Court rules against them, it will pave the way for women to do dangerous abortions themselves. What's your response when you hear claims like that?
Well, I'll tell you, their brief was very unfounded. It really didn't say anything except a lot of chaos. You know, it didn't really give any, oh, we should do this, or here's why Roe should stay intact, or why Casey should stay. None of that. It really said, oh, there's going to be a tangled mess here, and we really have to avoid overturning Roe. But here's the difference. They offered no distinction. They offered no platform, no any positive direction for the women. Wasn't empowering to the women. They weren't supportive of the children. And that in itself shows that they really weren't completely understanding and knowing what the next step should be for these babies, for these women. And so now it's very different. Like I said, 50 years ago, for professional women, they wanted you to make a choice. Yeah. Now you don't have to. Now you have the opportunity to be whatever you want to be. You have the option in life to really achieve your dreams, your goals, and you can have those beautiful children as well. Yeah,
absolutely. We love them both. We love both the mothers and the babies. Do you see this abortion case, Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, as the most prominent and significant abortion case since Roe v. Wade? How do you place this in your mind?
Absolutely. This will be the most significant, game-changing case probably in my lifetime that affects Roe, overturning the Roe v. Wade and sets us on a new course. And just think about the uplifting, the changing of direction for, again, these new babies we bring in, these women, and everyone knows it's all right. It's acceptable. You can have these beautiful children and you can have your careers. And so that really gets us into how do we empower women? How do we prepare for that next step? And we have to look at this whole vision and strategy. And I just, think God has given us this opportunity to be here.
So you really do see God in this.
Yes, and the prayers, the uplifting, it's just been incredible for myself, for the team. We know that we've been lifted up. We know that people have been there for us, helping us every step of the way from everything that was been written, every messaging that we're talking about, because I truly believe, as does my team, there's this huge groundswell of people who are excited about the answer to this case, who've been looking for the opportunity to talk about and have true, clear dialogue about abortion and why that's not a constitutional right.
Yeah. On a personal note, I just have to ask, how does it feel that it is your state's pro-life law that is up at the Supreme Court taking on this important question?
Well, it's very humbling, very humbling. And again, I feel like we were selected for all the right reasons, to really frame it on the viability question. And again, if you really look back over 50 years, gosh, the women have changed, men have changed, the career paths have changed, and certainly we know advances in medicine have changed. And so to finally be able to take a hard look at this, again, it's an honor and it's very humbling for our state.
Well, we now know those oral arguments are December 1st, just over 2 months out. What does that preparation look like ahead of then?
It's going to be a lot. We've been waiting for this day. We've had a whole strategy put together from the very beginning, and when it came to fruition, we had a plan. We've been working our plan. We knew exactly who we needed to be talking with, and the messaging, and then writing the brief. And I have to say, we really wanted to take that brief, and we wanted to leave no stone unturned. We wanted to hit it hard. We wanted to be very real. We wanted to talk about, here are the issues and how do we overcome. And you couldn't do it by just looking at pieces and parts. Right. You had to talk about the children, the mothers, the medical community. You had to talk about the safety, the health, and preserving life.
Well, be assured of our prayers for you ahead of December 1st and ahead of those oral arguments. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
To continue our conversation about the upcoming Dobbs case, we are joined on Skype by Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony List, and Amy Howe. She's a lawyer who has argued 2 cases at the Supreme Court. She co-founded SCOTUS blog and today reports on the Supreme Court at amylhowe.com. Welcome to you both. Amy, I want to go to you first. What is the question the Supreme Court justices will need to examine in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization?
So this is a challenge to the Mississippi law that bans almost all abortions after the 15th week of pregnancy. The lower court struck down the law as unconstitutional. So the state of Mississippi came to the Supreme Court and asked the justices to weigh in. In their petition for review, they were asking the justices to review the lower court's ruling, but in their brief on the merits, their brief that they filed in advance of the hearing, which has been set for December 1st, they've asked the Supreme Court to look at whether or not to overrule Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which are the landmark Supreme Court decisions establishing the basic right to an abortion.
Marjorie, and what is your response to that question that justices will consider and whether pre-viability abortion bans are unconstitutional?
Yeah, well, of course, they will ask that question and answer it, which is an incredible success. Even just to this point, they'll answer, is any pre-viability abortion ban is it constitutional? And of course, we believe that it is. We believe, and smarter people like Amy have studied and understand why in constitutional law there is no, the study of it reveals that there is no abortion right found in the Constitution, and yet quite the opposite. Unborn children, we believe, are protected in the Constitution under the 14th Amendment. So the idea that every single state has been banned from legislating on this matter and protecting children and their mothers from the very beginning or at any point along the way has been an outrage that has guaranteed polarization for the last 48 years in our country.
Amy, this case is being characterized as a major abortion case that could overturn Roe versus Wade. From a legal standpoint, do you see it that way, and is it possible?
So it's even the decision, as Marjorie suggested, to hear the case is really significant. The last 2 cases that the Supreme Court heard involving abortion were cases that involved restrictions on abortions, were cases that made it involving laws that made it harder for women to obtain abortions in Louisiana and Texas. And those were cases in which the lower courts had upheld the laws. And so the abortion providers came to the Supreme Court and asked them to weigh in. In this case, the lower court struck down the law. And so I think the fact that the Supreme Court has even agreed to weigh in is significant. It means that there were 4 justices who wanted to take up this case and think that they probably have a 5th vote to uphold the law.
Marjorie, can you speak to Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch's leadership on the Dobbs case and the significance of her brief? As Amy mentioned, she directly asked the court to overturn Roe.
Yeah, she is truly a model of the modern American woman that anyone would be proud to follow. She just understands the strength and the agency of women to handle situations that may not be perfect. She has communicated that beautifully. She asked very directly, as you say, to overturn Roe versus Wade for all of the strong and right reasons that we know are true, and to give that decision back to the people and express that will and their legislators in the states. I've spent the last 3 days with her going to the House and the Senate gathering with pro-life congresswomen from all over the country. Her very direct and compelling communication over and over is that the time has come for women and men and our families and our nation to allow legislators around the country to express the will of their states in their own laws, and that women can handle it along with the help that comes from the ground at pregnancy centers all across the country.
Amy, this is Justice Amy Coney Barrett's first major abortion case. Do we have any indication on how this court might rule, especially following the recent decision on the Texas heartbeat law?
Yeah, so the Texas heartbeat law, it's hard to read too much into it. I think certainly the fact that the court allowed the law to stay in effect while the litigation plays out in the lower courts was significant. As I said, I think that the decision to take up the case is a significant one. I think that, as far as I'm concerned, what I'll be watching for is whether it's sort of how far the court is going to go. Are they going to issue a relatively narrow decision that upholds the law without overruling Roe versus Wade? Or are they going to go ahead and overrule Roe versus Wade?
There's a lot to look forward to on December 1st. Marjorie, we have about a minute left, but I would love to just get your reaction as to what the Biden administration is doing following the Texas heartbeat law. And I know the House is voting this week on the Women's Health Protection Act. Can you speak to that?
In so many ways, this administration is moving further and further away from the majority and even just any semblance of representing the American people, and no position worse than their position on the Women's Health Protection Act, is what they call it. But what it really is, and will be voted on the House without a hearing, is the mandate of abortion up until the birth of the child, and even past in the case of the babies born alive. So this is the Congress is claiming the power to establish that for every single state. Of course, it's a position they want to state as an education point, which is that this is what they stand for. This will not go into effect, but they want everyone to know what the Biden administration and the House of Representatives and the majority of the U.S. Senate stand for right now, and that's what it is. Unfortunately, it's a polarized Democratic Party that can't get to the center on anything.
A lot of news. Grateful for both of your expert voices. Marjorie Dannenfelser and Amy Howe, thank you both.
Thank you.
Ahead of the upcoming Dobbs Supreme Court case, Justice Clarence Thomas warned an audience of students at the University of Notre Dame that the judicial branch should not wade into politics.
When we do that and we begin to venture into political, the legislative or executive branch lanes and resolving things that are better left to those branches, those of us, particularly in the federal judiciary with lifetime appointments, are asking for trouble.
The remarks last week came 2 weeks after Thomas was among the majority to vote 5-4 to uphold Texas's heartbeat law. He has previously called on the Supreme Court to revisit Roe versus Wade, suggesting it was wrongly decided. Justice Thomas, who is Catholic, also said during his Notre Dame address that the craziness during his 1991 confirmation was, quote, absolutely about abortion. Coming up, Google shuts down pro-life ads after receiving backlash from abortion advocates. I speak out when we return. Plus, pro-life supporters in Kansas explain how they plan to amend their state's constitution to help save lives. Next.
Smart speakers help with a lot these days. Did you know you can use your smart speaker to hear the top stories of the day from a Catholic perspective?
On Google Home, all you have to do is walk up to your speaker and say, "Hey Google, play Catholic News."
Here's the latest news.
Welcome to your daily Catholic news briefing.
If you have an Alexa, it's pretty much the same. Just say, "Alexa, open Catholic News."
Welcome back to the latest news from Catholic News Agency.
For more information on how to get the latest Catholic news on your smart speaker or wherever you get your podcasts, go to catholicnewsagency.com/smart speakers.
We're looking at images from the 16th annual March for Life and Family in Poland last week. It typically takes place in 140 Polish cities, but was limited to Warsaw this year due to COVID-19 restrictions. Organizers selected fatherhood as the key theme for the event. This was Poland's first March for Life since a landmark decision by Poland's constitutional court came into effect earlier this year, one that is expected to lead to a significant reduction in the number of abortions. It's great to see the pro-life movement around the globe. Welcome back to EWTN Pro-Life Weekly. I'm Catherine Hadro. Google has canceled pro-life ads about abortion pill reversal. That is this week's Speak Out segment. The pro-life groups Live Action and Heartbeat International claim that Google removed their ads promoting abortion pill reversal. Google reportedly took down the ads after caving to pressure from pro-abortion groups. The Center for Countering Digital Hate claimed abortion pill reversals are false information, and the pro-abortion American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists also claim abortion pill reversals are unproven medical claims. Abortion pill reversal uses progesterone treatment that's been FDA approved to prevent miscarriages. Chemical or medication abortion is a two-step process that involves taking two different pills. These abortions can be reversed with progesterone after a woman takes the mifepristone pill, but before she takes misoprostol. Live Action and Heartbeat International had been advertising a hotline for women seeking to reverse their abortion pill. Heartbeat International claims more than 2,000 women have successfully used the abortion pill reversal to stop an abortion. Google's decision to not advertise about abortion pill reversal will literally cost lives. How do I know abortion pill reversal works? Because I have met and interviewed women who say it saved their baby's life. Rebecca Hagan told me in 2018 how she was able to get an abortion pill reversal and save her son.
I turned to my phone and typed in, I took the first abortion pill and changed my mind. Thankfully, I found abortionpillreversal.com. I was connected with a nurse who found a doctor, and I drove to him maybe 16 hours after taking the abortion pill. He was not close to my home, but he was the only doctor willing to take me. And we started progesterone injections for several weeks to counteract the abortion pill that I took.
In Florida, a young mother, Rochelle Matheny, told me she called the abortion pill reversal hotline at 3 in the morning, which ended up being a double blessing.
It's a 24-hour line. They were able to help instantly. When I came into this clinic, they told me instantly, they were like, you're having twins, which was a complete shock to me, complete shock. So not only had I saved one life, not only was one life important to me, but I found out that there were two.
A dozen pro-life senators sent a letter to Google demanding the tech giant stop silencing pro-life views and reverse what they call unjust censorship. I hope Google listens because their policy is a complete double standard. They are allowing abortion groups to advertise about the abortion pill, but then won't let pro-life groups share information about abortion pill reversal. That's not choice. That is being blatantly pro-abortion. The state of Kansas has dealt with its share of pro-life challenges as the Kansas Supreme Court ruled in 2019 that there is a, quote, fundamental right to abortion in the state's constitution. The ruling allows for live dismemberment abortions to continue, and certain abortion bans are in danger of being unenforceable. Pro-life groups are responding to that devastating ruling with the Value Them Both Amendment. This amendment seeks to protect both mothers and babies from what pro-life groups in Kansas claim will likely soon be an unlimited abortion industry in the state. The amendment would alter the state's constitution so Kansans can place life-saving limits on abortion. The amendment passed through the state's legislature this year and will go before voters in August 2022. We're spotlighting the Value Them Both Amendment for this week's Pro-Life Focus. Joining us now on Skype to discuss is Peter Northcott, Executive Director of Kansans for Life, and Brittany Jones, Director of Policy and Engagement with the Kansas Family Voice. Peter, welcome. Let's start with you. Can you give us some background behind the Value Them Both Amendment and why there's the need for this amendment?
Absolutely. And Catherine, thank you so much for having us on. So in 2019, the Kansas Supreme Court basically cleared the path for unlimited abortion in our state's constitution by discovering a nearly unlimited right to abortion. So now every single one of our pro-life laws, from parental notification to our bans on taxpayer-funded abortions, are now in danger of being struck down, and the abortion industry is starting to bring suits against those existing laws. So the Value Them Both Amendment was placed on the ballot in August 2nd of 2022 through a group of coalition partners of pro-life groups and some very brave legislators. And your viewers can take a look at the Value Them Both Amendment for themselves at valuethemboth.com.
Excellent. Brittany, I understand there has been a rise in abortions in your state. Could you tell us what's behind that increase?
Yeah, so we've already seen the abortion industry use this 2019 ruling to force abortion clinics or allow abortion clinics to stay open during the COVID-19 pandemic. So while the governor was closing down businesses and churches, she said that because there was this right to abortion in our Constitution, that they had to remain open. This then allowed the abortion industry to encourage women to travel from other states to Kansas to have abortions. And so we saw the first increase in abortions in almost 2 decades in Kansas this last year. There was a 9% increase, and that's 626 more lives that we've lost in Kansas because of this ruling.
That's devastating. Peter, can you speak more to that? Speak to why pro-lifers across the country should be paying attention to what's going on in Kansas. I understand your state is also seeing an impact from Texas's new heartbeat law.
Yes, so again, since that infamous 2019 ruling from the Kansas Supreme Court, right after that ruling, abortion industry attorneys told the Washington Post that Kansas is now a haven for the most unlimited abortion practices in the Midwest. And so just in the recent weeks, we've seen abortion clinics in Kansas marketing to out-of-state individuals, telling them that they should come to Kansas, whether it's Texas or other states. And as Brittany had mentioned, we've seen a 9.1% increase in our abortion rate since last year. So in order for us to reverse this course and ensure our state doesn't become this permanent haven for the abortion industry and for the most extreme practices, we have to pass this Value Them Both Amendment on August 2nd of next year.
So important. Brittany, how might the upcoming Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization Supreme Court case impact your state and this fight to pass the Value Them Both Amendment?
The most important impact for Kansas is actually the timing. It's 2 different areas of law, but the timing of the Dobbs case is the most important impact on Kansas. The Dobbs hearing, as I believe we've talked about on your show already today, is December 1st of 2021, so just in a few short months. But that ruling will likely be issued around the end of June, which is just 6 weeks shy of this Value Them Both going on the ballot. And so Kansas will be the first ballot test of whatever comes out of the Dobbs case. And this has huge impacts for our state, because in Kansas, we're just looking at protecting our pro-life laws. We're not even talking about a 15-week abortion ban. We're talking about basic laws like parental notification, like informed consent, like protecting taxpayer dollars, ensuring that we don't have late-term taxpayer-funded abortion in the state of Kansas. But these are the things we're talking about in Kansas, and that's why I encourage all of your listeners to go to valuethemboth.com and look at some of the information there and figure out ways they can get involved and see how they can help us push back against the dangerous abortion industry.
Absolutely. It's so great to see pro-life groups coming together like this. Peter Northcott and Brittany Jones, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Catherine.
That does it for this edition of EWTN Pro-Life Weekly. Until next time, we'd love to hear from you. Find us on social media at EWTN Pro-Life on all social media platforms. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're there. You can also send us a message by emailing prolifeweekly@EWTN.com. We love to hear from you. Remember, life is a gift. Your life is a gift. God bless.
So we can continue to bring you great news programming, EWTN News wants to hear from you. Just go to EWTNnews.com/survey and tell us what you think about the show you're watching right now. It's completely anonymous, and thanks for your feedback.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Next on Defending Life, find out how what is supposed to be